RCWR Show dropping Monday of December 23rd, 2019. What is going on? Lee Sanders here. Hope you guys have done your Christmas shopping. You got it out the way for those of you that's going to be celebrating Christmas. And if you're not going to be celebrating Christmas, happy holidays to you in advance. Hopefully you've been enjoying them so far, or at least been making the most out of them. Got a nice slam dunk episode tonight for you guys, as this is the only show we're going to be putting out this week, because due to the Christmas holiday coming up, going to be pretty much on break. I mean, it makes a lot of sense when you stop and think about it. So I'll give you guys some quick programming notes, but we are talking about, of course, WWE RAW tonight for December 23rd of 2019. Also going to be sprinkling in a couple of headlines, not really too much, nothing really too heavy we need to be diving into this week, but we'll do the best we can. I am actually using some PTO, and I am just enjoying this nice little mini vacation that I have. My boss pretty much told me, hey, you know you got like a boatload of PTO? I'm like, yeah. I mean, like, it's ridiculous. You've almost got about 80 hours of PTO. I'm going, really? She's like, yeah, won't you start using some of that already? Like, now's a really good time. What's up, Justin? Since it's getting a little bit slow and everything. I said, okay, yeah, well, what the hell? So I'm enjoying it. I'm not going back to work until the day after Christmas, and then I'm pretty much back in full effect. But yeah, so I mean, I don't mind it if we end up doing a much longer show than normal, is the point that I'm trying to make to you guys, right? But I'll give you guys some quick programming notes and all that, because we also got some stuff that's coming your way as we get ready to close out the month of December and everything. I'll say this much at the very top. For those of you that maybe did not catch it, I was actually a special guest on last Thursday's episode of Wrestling Soup, hosted by my good friends over there, Anthony Missionary Thomas, Joey Numbers, John Draper. It was a fantastic time that I had one there. Now, the free-for-all that's available right now, that's running about 90 minutes long. However, the uncut, unedited version, actually that show ran about 3 hours and some change. So I definitely would encourage you guys, if you didn't catch my appearance on the show last week, go check that out. Always a good time interacting with those guys, and I tell you, never laughed so hard. It was good stuff. Loved it. Look forward to doing it again. But yeah, great shit. So it's not like I really wasn't that busy last week, because I was dipping into a couple of different things. So look, that was a pretty strong ending there that we have for Monday Night Raw tonight, as sadly, the way it's looking right now, Samoa Joe is going to be leaving us at the commentating position. My heart is so broken at the idea of that. Although there's that little part of me that's trying to grab on to, well, maybe it's just for Royal Rumble that's going to be coming up. Maybe it's just going to be used here and there. I can dream about it. I'm changing the lyrics a little bit here. It's usually I can dream about you, but I can dream about it, even though it won't happen that way. You know, I'm switching the words. Don't mind me. That's an old school 80s song for those of you that don't know anything about that song. I'll tell you this much. The person that had actually sung that song and wrote that song, he actually had Daryl Hall and John Oates in mind. But for whatever respected reason, Hall and Oates passed up on singing that song. And so he ended up singing it, and it would be a massive hit. It wouldn't be until almost, my God, 40 years later, you heard me right, 40 years later, would Hall & Oates actually do their own rendition of that song. They finally honored his wish, and they sung that song. He's died many years ago, but they finally went on ahead and they had did their own rendition of that song. It's a nice one. If you guys are maybe a little bit curious, some Hall & Oates fans, check out the Our Kind of Soul album from them. It was a compilation album that came out in the almost late 2000s. They do a lot of cover songs. It was great. They tried to arrange it in a way that was pretty much all theirs. But to see Seth Rollins there and AOP destroy the living shit out of my man Samoa Joe. I mean, the writing was on the wall. Now, that was real cool what Samoa Joe had dropped last week, but as me and a couple other of my fellow friends in the podcasting world pointed out, hey, wait a minute, back up a second here. You spot at the pay-per-view, his cast is off. So any day now, this man could be getting back in there in the ring, sadly. And I was just hoping it was going to last just a tiny bit longer, that he was going to be there at commentating, because it has been a refreshing breath of air. I really have been enjoying his commentating work. For me, that has been the main highlight of watching Raw these past couple of weeks, is Samoa Joe and his wittiness and his perspective. He makes it interesting. You know, his whole psychology, breaking it down, what's going on with the guy, especially from the heel standpoint. And we should have known that the writing was going to be a little bit on the wall from last week, with that great interpretation of what he said was going on with Seth Rollins and AOP, and he doubled down on it tonight. And he doubled down on it in such a way tonight where you couldn't help but say, nah, man, this kind of feels like there's going to be some type of ramifications as a result of what he's saying, because he spoke about those guys more than once tonight. I want to say at least 3 to 4 times he had candidly spoke about them and everything. One of the lines that he had mentioned, I'm just looking in my notes here, one of the lines that he had mentioned on tonight's Raw, he had said, I know, I'm paraphrasing here, I know a thing or two about these guys. I've rolled exactly how they've rolled. And let me tell you something, what I do, type of person that I am and everything, you know, my ends, it justifies the means and everything. But what these men are trying to accomplish, let me tell you something, there's some dark days that's ahead at the rate that these guys are going. I'm paraphrasing, but the way that he pretty much had summed it all up, it was, and he just kept saying, you know how you got to counter that. You know, and the way he kept teasing that, it was almost as if he was saying, you know how you counter these tough son of a bitches that's running roughshod on this roster right now, right? You counter them with another tough son of a bitch. And just earlier in the night, we saw these guys attacking the hell out of Kevin Owens. And, you know, I like from a writing standpoint that the way that they approach Kevin Owens here, as he opened up Raw with Mojo Rawley, yeah, we all pretty much just looked past Mojo Rawley. We all were more interested in, well, okay, so what's going on with Owens AOP? This is the first time we're seeing Owens back on Raw television since the beatdown he took at the hands of Rollins and AOP. How exactly is he going to kind of counter this? How are the odds even going to be in his favor this week, right? And we see him have his match with Mojo Rawley. It's okay for what it was worth, but then afterwards getting on the microphone, calling those guys out and everything, they oblige. Seth Rollins playing the mind games once again, supposedly trying to let the bygones be bygones. It was just a matter of eye for an eye, and as far as Rollins was concerned, they're being evened out and everything. And Owens not having any of that, leading the attack on first, AOP doing the beatdown and everything. So you see what AOP and Rollins is doing right there in taking out Kevin Owens. And then you follow that up to, oh yeah, by the way, it is a United States Championship match between Rey Mysterio and Rollins, because Rey Mysterio defending the title against Rollins. You see how that played out. That pretty much had ended in a disqualification, as AOP had attacked Rey Mysterio. So Rey is still the champion, but AOP and Rollins doing the work that they did. Damage already been done. Now what they're doing to Ray is just adding insult to injury, so to speak, taking that action right on up the ramp. And I gotta tell you something. I love, as they were closer to closing out Raw tonight, how you had the spot there where Vic Joseph, Jerry Lawler, they haul ass. They don't want any part of AOP whatsoever. They don't want any part of that carnage that's getting ready to happen right before their very eyes. And I loved how AOP bring that lifeless Rey Mysterio corpse over to the announcer's table, and Samoa Joe is just sitting there like, okay, yeah, and what? Alright, so you messing him up. Whatever. I'm not that far removed from being in the ring. It's only been several weeks for me. What? I ain't intimidated. I'm not impressed with what you guys are doing. I just love that whole body language he was doing. Even talking on the mic, talking trash to the guys and everything. We could hear what he was saying to AOP and Rollins, but all of that I loved. I ate that up. Telling them, man, if I gotta get up, y'all ain't gonna like it. I'm telling you, if you guys gonna make me get up, I'm telling you straight up. I just love how all of that had beautifully played so strongly in getting Samoa Joe over and everything. And I'm telling you, this has got to be some of the best booking I've seen of Samoa Joe on the Raw flagship show to date. You know, when I just kind of go back and look at some key milestones for me, just the prime position that he's in right now, this is a great marquee angle that he's involved in. So considering how everything has been set up so far these past couple of weeks, you're almost led to the impression that AOP Seth Rollins are going to be in a 6-man tag match, possibly at the Royal Rumble, possibly against Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if that's the course we're going for the Royal Rumble as opposed to everything panning out on Monday Night Raw, sign me up. I think that would be a very interesting matchup because not for nothing, but if my memory serves right, and I'll rely on you guys to correct me if I'm wrong in any type of way, but if my memory serves right, we have yet to see AOP with Rollins in action. Now, I want to take it a step further. And when it came to, what was that, Survivor Series, which was in November, we did not see AOP, right? Because that led to Seth Rollins giving that infamous speech about AOP, where the hell were you boys at? What the hell was going on? And then when you go into December's TLC pay-per-view event, there was nothing in regards to Seth Rollins and AOP. They were not in action. So this is going to be, I have a feeling that's how it's all going to pan out. Royal Rumble feels like at this point, AOP, Seth Rollins, that's going to be the first time we're going to see all three of these guys in action and everything. Wonder what the stable of this is named. You got to come up with some type of a stable because, yeah, come on, this is WWE. Everything always boils down to branding and marketing. So I'm wondering what type of names are they playing around with, if they're playing around with any names at all. Have to wait and see on that. But yeah, that's just how it feels right now. I think if it were to go in another direction, that would be a little bit disappointing. Now, if you don't do the 6-man tag match, then what you could do is have Rey Mysterio team up with Samoa Joe to take on the AOP, and then you could have Kevin Owens take on Seth Rollins later on during the night, or you could have it be a case where you flip it a little bit. Maybe you do Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe taking on AOP. Seth Rollins faces Rey Mysterio yet again. There's some interesting combinations that bookers can do with all of those guys leading up into the Royal Rumble. I'm most curious what they're going to do. I mean, Royal Rumble is going to be kind of long, and we know, oh yeah, that's the other thing that we got to remember too. Women are probably going to be going at it again with their own Royal Rumble this year, yeah? So, although you can't really do that many matches at the Rumble, because you're going to have essentially 2 Rumbles, right? So you can't really do too much, is the point that I'm making. So it just may be a 6-man tag match. We'll wait and see how it pans out there. But yeah, all that was pretty good, how it all had came about there. Also, we did see the adventures of R-Truth, the 24/7 champion. I've already talked about that the past couple of weeks, and nobody has yet to hit me up on social media and let me know what is going on with that 24/7 championship. And I don't want to rehash that again, but all I will say for those of you that haven't been with us the past couple of weeks, the championship that R-Truth has is a bogus title. And if you need me to elaborate further, let me know, and I will give you the timestamp and the episodes of the RCWR show you should check out. I seem to be the only one that has the elephant memory right now, knowing the real story of that current 24/7 title that apparently everybody else has forgot about. So it's kind of funny what's going on with R-Truth. But in either case, R-Truth was in New York City, and I enjoyed that. That was actually some really good comedic relief. Seeing Akira Tozawa get the 24/7 title off of him, and then R-Truth chasing him throughout the night. It leads into Santa Claus somehow becoming the 24/7 champion. The bigger mystery I have in my mind that I'd like for to be answered is who exactly was under that Santa Claus outfit. Was it Kevin Owens possibly, or who was? Because the voice kind of sounded a little bit like Owens, so to speak. So I'm a little bit curious who exactly was Santa Claus there. But Santa Claus at one point had the 24/7 title. Truth ended up getting the title back. All of that, just good comedic relief. I really didn't have any issues with that whatsoever. I gotta tell you, Raw tonight felt very, I won't say exhausting. That's too strong of a word to use. But what I will say is 3 hours, it just, especially on the eve of Christmas, it just felt as though it really wasn't needed. I think many fans would have been fine with just coming in, coming out. Many fans would have been fine if it just would have been a 2-hour broadcast for the show. And what I don't understand is, okay, since we're talking about the holidays and everything, why not just let Raw be a 2-hour show, go off at 10, right? And then your third hour, I don't know, maybe you could have done a bonus NXT episode, or you could have shown a WWE network special, right? You could have done something like that to make up for that third and final hour, as long as USA is getting their WWE content, right? And they are having ads play on that WWE programming block of time. Nothing else should really matter at the end of the day, I would like to believe. So I would be too surprised if in the coming years that's maybe something that WWE may entertain. Who knows? But yeah, tonight it just really felt like this was one of those rare nights where you go, yeah, 3 hours definitely not needed. Let's just stick to the 2-hour format. Some other keynotes from Raw this week. Lashley and Lana, they revealed that they are going to be getting married on the final Raw of 2019. How much of a factor is Rusev going to be playing into that? Is that going to be a party crashing moment? We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Also, something that was really weird about that whole Lashley and Lana segment, by the way. So Lashley ended up having a match against Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander, my God, this is a guy that we hadn't seen in several weeks. You almost forgot that the guy was still part of the roster and everything. At least for me, that was the case. But we saw them in action. And at one point, Alexander gets the upper hand on Lashley because he's doing some high-risk maneuvers outside of the ring. Crash and burn, but the rewards are paying off and everything. And he's getting ready to go for another high-risk maneuver because he actually gets back into the ring. He's getting ready to bounce off of the ropes, go over the ropes, trying to do another high-risk maneuver. But then Lana grabs the microphone, gets on top of the apron, and she actually starts injecting herself, telling Cedric that, hey, this match, it can't continue not like this. I don't need my man to be all bruised up and everything because we got a wedding that's going to be going down next week. Everybody's invited, yada, yada, yada. And instead she goes, why don't we make this be a Greco-style type of wrestling match instead. And of course, Cedric doesn't exactly go through that and everything. Now, the match would eventually continue, Lashley picking up the W, but my whole thing is, before they went to a commercial break and everything, you got Lana jumping up on the apron, and there is a match that is essentially underway. What I don't understand is, why did the referee allow Lana, just storyline wise, right? You just got to think about this now. Stay with me. Why would the referee allow Lana to continue to talk on that microphone, right, when your match is underway? And the ref should have grabbed the microphone, warned Lana that if she doesn't leave the ring, she will not only be ejected, but she's going to cost Lashley the match and roll out. So, I mean, you just got a referee that's just standing there allowing all this shit to go down. And then I also, and look, at the end of the day, it's not the referee's fault. It's not Cedric Alexander's fault. It's not Lashley's fault. You know, they're taking their directives. Now, at the same time, you could also say, well, wait a minute. They're going out there, they're doing their job. Surely they have enough of a, hey, well, you know what would be a really cool idea? Just kind of thinking about all of that. What do we went in this direction instead? Or what if we added this little thing to it? That way everything kind of pans out okay. I would like to believe that all of those people that I just named can offer feedback, and whatever tweaks need to be made, then the tweaks need to be made. But this is a case right here where, and look, this story arc, it has Paul Heyman, what's going on with this Lana Lashley Rusev thing, it has Paul Heyman written all over it. And for me, look, I love Paul Heyman. I appreciate all the contributions that he's made to the business over the years. But if, in fact, this man is one of the people that is in charge of putting together storylines for key individuals, getting it passed and everything, able to get through Vince McMahon, convince him to come on board and everything like that, then with such lazy ass writing tonight for that particular angle, you have a referee that doesn't warn Lana, doesn't try to eject her from the ring. And you have Cedric Alexander that's just fucking standing there listening to all of her verbiage when you got Lashley down. Hey, not for nothing, this guy was a world heavyweight champion in another wrestling promotion. This guy was a ECW world heavyweight champion. This guy knows how to win. He's had a few MMA fights. He's got some victories under his belt in the MMA world and everything. This is an individual that you do not want to sleep on, right? This is an individual that you do not want to, when you're on the offense, you got them grounded, you're getting the upper hand, you got to stay on them, right? So for me, that was just really weird how that whole thing had played out altogether. It was very lazy writing and booking right there. Drew McIntyre, we saw him later on during the night. He pretty much had a squash match. I don't even know which guy it was. I can't remember if it was Hawkins or if it was Ryder. I do know he beat the living shit out of both of them. Afterwards, he got on the microphone and proclaimed that 2020 is going to be the year of Drew McIntyre. I don't believe that is hype. I believe that this is upper management, as they have done strategically over the years, and letting you know what's next on the horizon and everything. This kind of goes back to what I was talking about just about maybe 2 months ago, so to speak. I remember there was a period where we even had listeners here saying, what is going on with Drew McIntyre? It feels like Drew McIntyre is being buried. What happened to Drew McIntyre and his push? I don't understand. And if you guys remember, I was on the same show and I said, guys, don't trip. They are just doing a scenic route right now with Drew McIntyre. Their plans for the Royal Rumble, going into WrestleMania, everything has already been mapped out. So don't be tripping right now. But I remember I told you guys, I said, as far as 2020 goes and just looking at key guys on the roster, yeah, Drew McIntyre is somebody I can see that's going to do big, bold, bad things, right? Bad as in cool things. So just don't trip right now. Just stay the course. And to see that declaration made, that just kind of reaffirms in my mind what I had said a couple of weeks ago. So for those of you that are legit Drew McIntyre fans, you should take what happened right there tonight and that announcement that he made. You should definitely look at that as a big positive going into 2020. And I mean, look, Drew has a great size. He's got a great fucking look. I love it. He is still lacking a little bit in the personality to a certain degree. I would really like to see him play off of the fans more. And that's the one thing that I will say about the Drew McIntyre that I watched in Impact Wrestling. I can't even remember the stable that he was part of back then, but I remember when he went into Impact Wrestling and he was a face and all that, there was a lot of playing off of the crowd that he did. There was a lot of interactions. There was a lot of playing back and forth, playing off of the fans and everything. He still, to a degree, had a little bit of a problem with playing off of them a bit, but he was definitely more engaging with them, right? Now, some people will say, yeah, but that's as a face, and true, but as a heel, it's funny because some people feel that, oh, well, it shouldn't really matter if a person is a heel because, you know, we're supposed to boo them and everything. Why does it matter if they get a reaction? Because it all equals to longevity. The last thing you want to get is the go away heat. You know, you can't really draw a dime heat. That's the last type of reaction you want. You know, I've been saying it time and time again on this show. Any reaction is better than no reaction at all. And if you're a heel, you want to be loathed. If you are a heel, you want to be doing such a good enough job, a la Baron Corbin, that every time that person comes on your screen, they just get under your skin and all this other, not to the point you want to change your channel, but just they're working your nerves like that. And it's night and day when I compare Drew McIntyre and where he is on the microphone and how he engages with the crowd compared to Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin has made leaps and bounds of dramatic improvement, I feel. Drew still has a little bit of a ways to go, but there's no denying that as far as him for the whole 2020 calendar year, if we're here come December 23rd of 2020, right, a year from now, and Drew McIntyre has not at least tasted one of those World Heavyweight Championships, I would say to you, so what happened? How did WWE fail him, and how did he fail the WWE, right? That would be my question to you guys. But so, like I told you guys a couple of months ago, they're taking a scenic route with him. They're going to get there. Probably one of the most coolest moments of the night for me, and as far as matches of the night goes, really not much you can sink your teeth into. I mean, even though it was a short matchup, the Rey Mysterio Seth Rollins for the United States title, you know, that was okay. I'll give that a nice little honorable mention at the bottom. But for me, the matches that really jumped out to me the most, I got to give it up to Ricochet taking on my man Tony Nese. I wish that match would have been a little bit longer. That's a match that you honestly could have went 3 commercial breaks. You would have been okay. The fans would have eaten it up. Why they had it be such a short match? It felt as though that match was probably about, I would say, 5 minutes at most. Maybe 8 minutes. Maybe 8 minutes. But it was definitely a short match. I love the potential there, right? I saw these guys come out. I'm going, oh yeah, these two are going to tear it up. This is going to be entertaining as fuck. And to just get handful of minutes there with those guys. I was disappointed, but that for me, despite the fact that it was such a short match, I did quite enjoy that one a lot. Also, Chelsea Green, losing effort to Charlotte, but I definitely want to give her a nod as well. Chelsea Green, I drink to you, my dear, and I'm literally drinking one as we speak here. Don't worry, guys, this is only my first beer for today. Tried some new IPA. I love, you guys have been listening long enough. Been trying all different kinds of IPAs when I get a chance. So tonight we have New Belgium Imperial IPA Voodoo Ranger. The proof is 9%. Not too bad. It was between this and I can't think of the name of the other one. I think the other one was called Cannonball IPA, something from out in Baltimore, Maryland. But this one's actually pretty good. I definitely would recommend this. If you guys like drinking IPAs or you want something new to check out Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. It's actually pretty damn good. Good shit. You won't be disappointed. Chelsea Green. Yeah, I got to give her a lot of props, man. I really do. Otherwise known as Laurel Van Ness from her Impact Wrestling days and everything. You know she's been married to, I think it's Zack Ryder. Yeah, Zack Ryder she's been married to for a couple of years now. Or at least they were engaged. They've been engaged now for a couple of years. I won't say they got married just yet because I'm not really sure if they did. If they did get married, you guys can definitely let me know. But this was her WWE RAW debut. And I was ecstatic. I was legitimately happy for her. You know, it wasn't always a case that I was a fan of Chelsea Green. It wasn't always the case because one of my first memories of her came in Impact Wrestling. And God, it was so weird what was going on with her in Impact Wrestling. You had that weird on-screen relationship that was going on with Braxton Sutter, and they were supposed to get married, and then Braxton rejected her or some shit like that, as he had professed his love to Allie, AEW's Allie, or the Bunny. And that made her become this crazy ass bride that had this weird lipstick and, you know, running around with the same wedding dress on for weeks at a time. It was getting dirty and everything. And somehow Grado got put in there. I did not like it. I did not like it whatsoever. She was there in Impact Wrestling for about 2 years. And I just did not like what I was seeing of her. Now, one of the first times she did some stuff for TNA, it was at the One Night Only event. And I think she had took out... No. There was something she did before where she had took on Jade. Jade, a.k.a. Mia Yim. And then after that, she had participated in the TNA One Night Only event where she had participated in a gauntlet match, I think it was, for the Knockouts Championship. And she got eliminated by Awesome Kong from that much I do remember. But then it was later on, like a couple of months later, that she had signed on with Impact Wrestling and everything. And yeah, it wasn't memorable. That's my whole point. Her run in Impact Wrestling, it just really was not memorable. Now, of course, you go to 2018. She popped in there for Lucha Underground, and she was doing her thing as Reclusa or Reclusa. I always had a hard time pronouncing that one. And that kind of, okay, this is okay. I see you here. This is kind of nice. Okay, so to hear of her making the arrangements and, you know, taking part in NXT and, you know, having these, I'm really happy for her. I'm really, really happy for her. And it's always awesome when you have a situation where a real life couple gets to work for the same employer because they get to travel on the road together, and they don't have to worry about sleeping arrangements, making other arrangements with other people and everything like that. I gotta tell you, this was for the first time for me looking at her taking on Charlotte Flair. You talk about such a high task right there, and on top of that, a high honor. And okay, let's really see how you can hang. I gotta say, Chelsea Green tonight, she really fucking hang with Charlotte Flair. And I know she did some stuff for other promotions. I know she did some stuff for Elite Canadian Championship Wrestling and quite a few others, but sadly I didn't see any of those. Only thing I could really speak upon was what was going on with her in TNA. And although I'm now weekly checking out NXT, now that they're on the USA Network, sadly, I know she did some stuff in NXT prior to tonight, but I sadly did not get to check out, what she was doing down there. And I'm a little bit heartbroken by that, even though it was sporadic appearances here and there in NXT. Conveniently, at the times that I would binge on NXT to get ready for a takeover event, I didn't get to see her. So for me, it's nice to be in this position that I'm in and go, wow, here's another case right here where, once again, and this is going to sound like a redundant song to some of you guys, you know exactly what I'm getting ready to say, but this is a perfect scenario right here where, once again, Impact Wrestling had another great piece of female talent on their roster that, once again, they did not know how to properly utilize. And it has us fans that aren't really that educated on some of these talents that they're signing. And for some of us, we really don't go out of our way. I had to learn real quick when it comes to certain promotions that, okay, let me start researching. Let me start researching and seeing what's going on. And in the case of Laurel Van Ness, Chelsea Green, it was, okay, she's worked for these other promotions, a little bit of stuff out there, but I can't really get a good gauge on what she's about. Here's a case right here. You have this great match that she had tonight with Charlotte Flair, and you're going, the sister can hang. This girl definitely deserves to be part of, whether it's the SmackDown roster or the Raw roster, or even NXT, she definitely needs to be a part of one of those brands for sure. And she has a great fucking look. I mean, I haven't even talked about her looks yet, right? I mean, Zack Ryder, no disrespect, man, but your woman is smoking fucking hot. I mean, just from a branding and a marketing standpoint, my God, you could do amazing things with a girl like Chelsea Green. Amazing fucking things. I love that fucking look, man. I mean, nice, tight body, great looking face, easy on the eyes. You can do some really cool stuff with her, right? So I hope that what we saw of her tonight, because if you notice, last week we had somebody else, I can't remember the name right now, somebody else was on. That was like a one-time deal apparently, and now you had Chelsea Green. I hope that with regards to 2020 on the horizon, these girls that we've been seeing, hey, we're going to see them a little bit more than just once. In the case of Chelsea Green, I definitely think you can do some really cool stuff with her. So, we'll wait and see. But I can't give Chelsea Green enough praise. I enjoyed the match that she had with Charlotte Flair tremendously. I looked at it and I wasn't expecting that much. I thought for sure it was going to be pretty much a squash match that was going to be done in about 50 seconds. That's honestly what I was expecting. But it far exceeded my expectations, and a little bit of leeway that Charlotte had gave to Chelsea. Just as Chelsea was given an opportunity to look strong and make an impression, so too did Charlotte go in there and, hey, this is my house. I'm the queen. They both came out of there, despite the fact that Chelsea lost, they both came out of there looking very strong. And just once again, it's just one of those sad, painful reminders that Impact Wrestling, just think about this for a second as we move on to the next topic. Think about this for a second. Impact Wrestling had Mia Yim. They had Chelsea Green. And they pretty much fuck that up when it's all said and done. They fuck that up. You can also look at Marty Bell. That is another one that they fucked up tremendously, right? I'm thinking about my girl to a certain degree, Nikki Rocks. Big ass fucking Nikki Rocks fan. Some of the extreme shit that she was doing, she really had no business doing. I kind of wish that Impact would have dialed it down a little bit with some of the shit she was doing in there. But there are so many knockouts that they've had access to over the years that they've dropped the ball on. Now, just to play devil's advocate a little bit, there have been some knockouts that, all right, they're doing okay. They're justifying it. Okay, yeah, all right, they're booking their smart. Jordan Grace is a good example. Some of the men that Tessa Blanchard has been facing, I don't agree with. Now, look, I'm all for intergender wrestling. I am all fine and down with that. You're talking to somebody that actually posed that question to Tessa Blanchard during an Impact Wrestling conference call and everything. So I am definitely a strong advocate for intergender wrestling, right? But I will definitely admit to you guys that some of the people that Tessa has been facing on Impact Wrestling these past couple of weeks, it's just been kind of a head scratcher to a certain degree. But I like otherwise how she has been booked in Impact. I definitely enjoy Rosemary. Rosemary is another one that they book pretty good. Kiera Hogan, she's one that's coming along there in Impact. So, I mean, my point, it's not all as doom and gloom and bad as I maybe kind of made it came off to be a few minutes ago. Wasn't meaning to have it come off like that. I don't think there's really anything else more we need to talk about with Raw tonight. If there's something you guys want me to talk about just a couple of minutes, you can post a comment, let me know. I do have a poll asking you guys, what did you make of tonight's WWE Raw? I'm keeping it simple tonight. I just want to do one poll only. I got a poll on Twitter right now. Twitter at the RCWR Show. Give me a follow while you're over there as well. Also on Facebook and Instagram. Use keywords, the RCWR Show. Asking you guys, what did you make of tonight's Raw? And so far, it's 50-50. So far, it is 50-50 right now. So, two options, thumbs up and thumbs down. Right now, it's a split decision. So, you guys don't agree with that? You got Twitter. Hop on Twitter. Look up at the RCWR Show and cast your vote that way. But Raw tonight, yeah, just to reiterate one more time, we really could have done without the third hour. We really could have. I'm all down for a third hour of WWE programming, but if we would have went in just a different direction where you just had a 2-hour broadcast and then your third and final hour original WWE programming, some type of a 24 special or something like that, I think that would have been just fine. Given the holiday season and all, we would have been just fine with that. So, hey, by the way, I did check out Saturday Night Live over the weekend with Eddie Murphy. Man, I gotta tell you, if you guys didn't get an opportunity to check it out, I highly would recommend you guys go out of your way and do so. That actually was, I hadn't laughed so hard and consistently with SNL in quite a long time. It's been some years for me, and I find it funny. Now, I talked about this more in depth with Tammy because we actually ended up recording 2 episodes of 30 with Lee, and I'm trying to figure out if I want to fuse them as one or make it 2 separate episodes. I'll give you guys some more Patreon content in a little bit, but we recorded 2 episodes earlier tonight. It's in the books. It's ready to go. I just got to sit down, edit it, and then upload it to the Patreon feeds. But, as we were talking about it and everything, I told her, I said, for me, I know Saturday Night Live won't be back until, I think, January 25th or something like that with a new episode. They're going to be back in late January. And I told her, I said, I know where I'll be when Saturday Night Live returns in January. I won't be watching it because there's nobody on there that I gravitate towards that, okay, I got to watch it each week because I got to see what skits this person is going to be in and involved in and everything. And see, I am from that era where, I was still a baby when Eddie Murphy was part of the SNL cast and everything, right? So, by the time I really started catching on to Eddie, Eddie had pretty much already left SNL, so to speak, and he started doing this thing with the 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop, Golden Child, and all that other stuff. So for me, as far as SNL goes, I grew up on Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, Dennis Miller, Mike Myers, David Spade, Dana Carvey, who else? Will Ferrell, Molly Shannon, Sherry O'Terry. Uh, those were my guys. Those were all my fucking guys. Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Tracy Morgan, all of those people. Those were my guys. For me, SNL has just, I would say, it really, for me, to each its own. But for me, it really hasn't been must see Saturday night, because I remember there used to be a time where Saturday Night Live, God, man, I can remember being in junior high, high school, and college, and coming back from the weekend, going to school, fresh off of a weekend. Hey, did you watch SNL? And spending about 15-20 minutes just going over a lot of the skits that had played out for that weekend, and then talking about the great fucking musical guest that was on there and everything. And for me, it's been at least, it feels like 15 years that I've religiously tried to watch SNL. And I'll tell you this, who's the black woman that just recently left? Leslie Jones. Now, I saw a little bit of her stuff whenever I would be in on the weekends, and I'm flipping through the channels, and I would see some of her skits. She just happens to be on the TV. She's funny as shit. I would, watch her and everything. She was funny as shit, but, other than that, there really wasn't anybody else. And she's now gone. So it's like, so what's the incentive here to really watch this? The guys with the Weekend Update, Michael Shea and the dude that's banging Scarlett Bordeaux, they got great chemistry together. They're hilarious as hell. I can now understand why WWE had tried to tap into those guys and everything, but kind of really didn't pan out that well, so to speak, right? But yeah, I see why they are in that segment that they're in. They definitely have earned that Weekend Update spot. They are very charismatic. They're very entertaining and everything. But like I said to Tammy when we were recording earlier tonight, I said, it really felt like, with regards to that Saturday Night Live and everybody that did flock to the TVs to see Eddie, that's what it was all about. It was all about Eddie. It was all about, for those of us that were kids growing up, we knew about Eddie thanks to our parents, but we didn't watch Eddie Murphy Raw. We didn't watch Eddie Murphy Delirious. We didn't watch any of those damn things because it was too raunchy at the time, and we weren't allowed to watch that type of stuff. We had to watch the more safer shit. It really wasn't until 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop stuff, Coming to America. That's when we were allowed to, okay, this is actually safe for you kids to watch. That's good to go. But man, when we were in our teens, 13 to 15, that's when we, oh yeah, what's this about Raw? What's this about Delirious? And whoa, hey, that's hilarious as shit and all that other stuff. So I would imagine that, aside from our parents, us, now that we're grown-ups, and for those of us that have had our own kids, and given the way the culture is today, our kids that's now somewhere between maybe 12 to 16 or whatever, depending on when you had your kid. Now it's another generation that's growing up on Eddie Murphy, and hey, look, this is why this guy was so fucking cool and everything like that. Congrats. I mean, I see that the numbers came in and it did pretty damn good. I talked about the numbers and all that on that 30 with Lee with the misses. So I don't want to do too much rehashing over it, but I saw the ratings were definitely strong. This much I can tell you. The ratings were so strong for that episode of SNL. It was their highest rated episode that they have received within the past 2 years, if I remember it right. Maybe even 3 years, but definitely within the past 2 years. So good shit. It was walking down memory lane because it was okay. So what characters is he going to resurrect here? Is he going to do Gumby? Yeah, he did it. Okay, well, what about Buckwheat? Yeah, he did that too. Like, oh, fuck. Well, what about Mr. Robinson's neighbor? I mean, he pretty much did all the fucking classics, and I loved it. Now, I got to give it up to my man via NWA. I always forget this guy's name, but he made a very interesting point on social media. And he talked about how the guy that's the announcer for NWA, I'm still getting a lot of these people's names down. David Marquez. He had, for me, the greatest post of the entire weekend. That honestly, it is serious discussion that many people should be having and everything. Now, in case you missed this, you're not checking out NWA and everything. All right, so NWA's David Marquez. He felt that there was a double standard between Eddie Murphy saying a racial line on Saturday Night Live and the joke that got Jim Cornette pushed out of the NWA. Okay? Now, for those of you that did not watch Eddie Murphy on SNL, there was a weekend update where he was Gumby and he referred to Michael Shea as "you black bastard." He also called him he called him I'm not going to say that word. It's just so degrading. I'm not going to say that word. But he called him actually, I can say the word, but I can say it in a way where I'm thinking about my colleague, Matt Coon. I hope he's enjoying the musical world. Coon Boy. Now, change that K to a C, and there you go. But yeah, he called Michael Shea that, and you're going, woo, and they're really being all balls out here. So David Marquez, he actually took note of that and wrote on Twitter. He said Eddie Murphy can say, and again, I'm using the Matt Coon, right? I'm using that one, okay? Eddie Murphy can say Coon Boy on network TV. Again, replace the C with the K. But Jim Cornette can't say a starvation joke in the internet. Good on you, America. And responses to Twitter users, he noted, I'll hear, well, he's black, he can say, and it'll be mostly from white people. And the comedy performed in each of those sketches would have been met in outrage from IWC. Yet Murphy is being praised for his display. Jim Cornette said a bad, dated, non-racial joke, and the pitchforks were out. Double standard. So it's a very valid point that he brings up. It really, really is. And I think honestly, the people that would know for sure, hey, how was Eddie Murphy received with his performance over the weekend, is Lorne Michaels. And for those of you that don't know diddly jack shit about SNL, or you've tuned out for a while and you don't know, Lorne Michaels is one of those type of individuals. He likes for his shit to be a particular way. He loves it when occasionally his comedians mess up their lines, and it's improv at its finest as far as he's concerned, right? Because it's live and anything can basically happen, right? So I've yet to see any type of a statement where Lorne Michaels has apologized for, because on top of that Weekend Update segment, Eddie Murphy also said shit. And that's something that, and it's kind of amazing when you think about it, but when you look at SNL, there's a lot of stuff that they bleep out. They bleep out fuck and, all that other stuff, but shit is definitely something that they always bleep out, but that actually made it through the cracks in Eddie's performance. So, I've yet to see a statement from Lorne Michaels, and I don't think there is going to be a statement from Lorne, because Lorne, for that respective week, got the numbers, he got the viewers back and everything, more eyes on the product. Hopefully the turnout there'll be residue from what Eddie did this past weekend. There'll be residue that'll come back, and out of curiosity, see what the rest of the cast can do without someone like a Eddie Murphy at the helm and everything. Honestly, putting all of them to fucking shame when it's all said and done. So it's an interesting situation, because Lorne Michaels has a reputation of, no, I don't want that person to ever be on the show again. No, absolutely not. There are people that are blacklisted. Martin Lawrence is one of those people. Look that up. When you guys get a free moment, look up Martin Lawrence banned from SNL. You get the great insight as to what all went down and why to this day the guy just continues to stay banned from SNL. But there are a ton of people. Sinead O'Connor. I want to say Richard Dreyfuss. I believe Richard Dreyfuss is on that list. Right, Richard Dreyfuss. I believe he was banned. There is quite a few people that are banned per Lorne Michaels. So for the longest time, Lorne and Eddie, a lot of conflict there. And I wouldn't be surprised if young fools become old wise men, and this was really about letting bygones be bygones, burying the hatchet and everything. And your guess is as good as mine. But David Marquez does make a very valid point. But the thing that he needs to home in on is Lorne does have his own standard of, okay, this is how we're going to handle things. Now, what I do find very interesting about all of this, as far as this whole double standard and everything, and how the IWC can get on Jim Cornette, but then they cannot be consistent in going after Eddie Murphy, right? I gotta tell you, when I heard that, I did cringe a little bit. I did cringe, because, but then at the same time, I really had to get lost in the joke, which was, here is this black actor that's dressed as Gumby, a fucking character all green, and he's calling him that. And I gotta tell you, hearing some of the people doing an awkward dry laugh over that skit, some people got it. Credit to them. Some people that did laugh, they understood the joke. They got it, because it was kind of like, well, wait a minute now. Like really? It's kind of a reminder of where our society is today as far as shock, culture, and everything. And it's an interesting dynamic. It really, really is. Now, if you can allow for Eddie Murphy to say those type of things on Saturday Night Live, what was the name of the comedian that had an opportunity to join SNL? And the motherfucker couldn't even make it to rehearsals because there was some old audio that was dug up about what he said of Asians, Japanese people, or whatever. And he was fucking fired. Like, the dude didn't even make it, I don't think, 7 days from the announcement that he was hired to the end of the week. Like, he didn't even make it a full 7 days, and he was fired in the same fucking week. So my point, if you can let Eddie Murphy get away with those things, you can look the other way. Then how come a comedian that has been busting their ass, working so hard for many years, their name, their brand, they're getting it all out there, and it gets them to a point where they're able to join the SNL cast, and because of what they said, on a show, and it's established they are not racist in any type of way. They are just a comedian that does their very best to push the envelope and everything, right? You know, it's all about that's comedians in a nutshell. It's all about pushing the envelope, you know, being risque and everything, but most importantly, trying to make people laugh, trying to let it be all about good entertainment, right? Good fun. And you give him an SNL job, but then you take the job back because, you know, I think you owe him an apology. If you're going to let Eddie Murphy slide, and I'm not trying to hear that whole, but he's Eddie Murphy. He's, you know, he's making money, and I'm not trying to hear that. You know, that's a very delicate situation right there. You know, I don't even know, just from a legal standpoint, if that guy that was hired and fired by SNL in a week, I don't know if he even has a leg to stand on as far as some type of settlement from SNL or whatever. But I'm most curious, and I'll probably do some research and revisit it with you guys next week. I'm most curious what his thoughts are about what Eddie Murphy had said on the show and everything. So to David Marquez's point, I do see the selective outrage and I think that's what a lot of people are missing. I think that's what's really going over a lot of people's heads, because so far you've had a lot of people, you know, oh, this is coming from a white boy, and David's going, I'm actually Puerto Rican. Like, what the fuck? You know, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But yeah, I definitely see what he's talking about. So there you go. There you got your SNL, and then you got your wrestling in there. You know, all mixed in one right there. So interesting shit right there. Also, get into some more headlines here. We've got some AEW news for you guys. So going down for January's AEW Dynamite, looks like the first one of the new year. One of your matches is going to see the Rhodes Brothers take on the Lucha Brothers. First time ever. So that should be pretty good. I want to hear some more matches that they got hooked up in the works for AEW. Besides AEW Revolution selling out when it did, they had some ticket pre-sales that were going on for the February 19th Atlanta, Georgia, and the February 26th Kansas City editions of AEW Dynamite. I don't know if the pre-sale is still going on, but the pre-sale code for Dynamite in Atlanta was Fleet ATL. Fleet ATL. And the pre-sale code for Kansas City was Fleet KC. But once again, Georgia, actually, let me back up a second. Yeah, I said it right. Atlanta, Georgia, February the 19th, and February the 26th, Kansas City, Missouri. It's going to be the next episodes of AEW Dynamite. Of course, some of the big fiasco stuff that came about since last we were on air, I talked about it with the boys over on Soup, but the stuff that went down with the Young Bucks going off of social media, and let's be more specific, them deactivating their Twitter accounts, basically saying, hey, you know, these accounts, we're done with them, you know, no more. You know, conveniently, this happened at a time where you saw the poor ending segment there of AEW Dynamite, with one of the members from the Dark Order that was throwing air punches to Goldust and everything. And yeah, and that's the thing, just going back to last Wednesday's show, because we did do a Wednesday show. If you notice, didn't get a chance to talk about that. You know why I didn't get a chance to talk about that? Because most people that are watching these shows in real time and everything, you know, they're 9 times out of 10, these guys, they're not doing shows like me and my friends are doing. You know, we are in those last 20 minutes, we're setting up the stream, at least for me, setting up the stream, taking down any additional notes, you know, cross-referencing, making sure got all the facts straight and everything like that, testing out the audio levels, making sure if there's any updates, you know, shit that listeners don't even think about. And so when we go live last Wednesday, you know, none of that as far as that spot goes with the air punches, none of that. I did not hear about the air punches and all of that shit. Really, honestly, not until the next day. Not until the next day. And so many wrestlers were very vocal about that spot there. And, I get where they're coming from and everything. And, it's so interesting because social media can be very toxic. It really can be toxic to the Young Bucks' point to a degree, because we couldn't figure out, well, why did they? And the only thing that many people could assume was, oh, well, the spot that went down there with the ending. And then to make matters worse, you have the spot with Tony Khan where he comes out, what's this, after AEW Dark goes off or whatever, and we learned that it was Sean Spears' idea and a few other people or whatever. And, the idea was for Tony Khan to come out there, deliver a stunner. Aubrey, the referee, she does a stunner as well. And so you've got people that are, what the hell? And, not to rehash what I talked about on Soup, but since I'm, flying solo on here and I can be a little bit more open about it and everything and really speak from the heart on this. I was interacting with one person on social media. And, look, I'm like this. I am all fine for debates. I am all down for point, counterpoint. I'm all down for that. But the one thing that I always have tried to be consistent on since 2011 is I'm not kissing other people's asses. If I see something that I feel is personally, hey, that's off. That is off. I got to speak upon that. I got to critique that. I got to offer my constructive feedback, my constructive criticism, ways of improvement versus, oh, I'm just going to bitch about this. Anybody can fucking do a show and just spend a whole hour, 90 minutes or whatever, just bitching about something. Anybody can do that. But to be on a show and offer, real solutions, right? There's not that many that can do that. And, what I notice of that whole thing with Tony Khan, I'll get to the Young Bucks in a little bit, but the whole thing with Tony Khan, like I told this one person, I said, look, I'm not going to waste all my time on Twitter because that's like a fucking diary. It's like, I'm not going to write part 1, part 2, part 3, explaining it's like, check out the show. For me personally, I look at that thing with Tony Khan and I can just apply it to an everyday 9-to-5 job, which is you've got a really great boss, vice president of your company or president of your company, treats their employees well, make sure they got all their health benefits, make sure that any overtime that they want, they're able to get it. They need to go away for some sick leave or whatever. He hooks them up. Holiday time, gives out the Christmas bonuses, all of that. Leads by example, hardworking, knows how to lead by example and has people's respect, right? There's a time and a place to, hey, let your hair down a little bit. You could be a little loose, Christmas party or what have you, things of that nature. Now, there are going to be times where that boss has to give disciplinary action. There's a time where, no job is perfect. No boss is always going to be, hey, there are going to be times where something is going to have them be tensed. Maybe some personal matters at home is getting the best of them and it's getting in the way of their work. Once in a while, there's going to be that bad day, right? But hey, time for some disciplinary action to be put out there. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you guys. But the last thing I will want from a boss is someone that is buddy chums with every single body, going out, having drinks, going to strip clubs. And I'm not saying that's what Tony Khan does, so don't twist my words, please. But the last thing I'm going to do is, just from a boss perspective and everything, the last thing anybody will want is a boss who hangs out with the employees and, it does all of that shit that I was talking about, comes off more as a friend, right, than their superior. Because then when you start seeing things that's going on with certain employees, then you can't help but say, oh, well, they got it in good with that person. What the hell? I will give you guys a perfect example. True fucking story. I wasn't even going to bring this up. It's a very short story. It's not long-winded at all. I actually have found this out earlier today. So this kind of follows up to the point that I'm making here. Now, Tammy's friend, and shout out to her, she lost her job. Like literally, I think it was over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. She either lost her job over the weekend or she had lost her job sometime Monday. But the way she lost her job was the girl that handles accounting for the friend's employer, or past employer now, a former employer, she was out sick for a couple of days. And so the friend, steps up, has this experience, knows what it's like to operate payroll and everything. And hey, people are trying to get their money before the Christmas holiday because people needed their money like yesterday so they can go shopping and get everything out of the way. So she takes it upon herself and, she doesn't just pick up and, she does get the green light. So processes everything. Now, when this person that was sick comes back, she goes to the, president of the company and says, it's either her or it's me. This woman was so butthurt because Tammy's friend did such a good, thorough job in making sure that with the payroll, numbers were right and, everybody got their money and everything, no discrepancies whatsoever, rather than this person pull homegirl to the side and say, man, you did such a fantastic job. Thank you for stepping up, when we really needed it the most. I know you really haven't been here that long, but that was really awesome what you had did. I greatly appreciate that. No, what this heifer decided to do was use her friend card with the president of the company because she's so buddy chums with her. And, they've actually been working together for like about 4 years or whatever. I mean, they are friends, not fuck buddies, but they're friends. And the president of the company lets Tammy's friend go. So to my point that, we all want to be in that type of an environment, employment wise, where we feel good about what we're doing. We feel like we're making a difference. We feel like we're part of a team. We feel like we can talk to our superiors about any and everything. And most importantly, we have that respect. But what we don't want is pettiness. We don't want favoritism. I know you guys have stories. I've shared stories over the years where some places I've worked at, there was serious favoritism that was going on and everything. So there was a time and a place where, hey, got to be corporate here. And then there's other times where, okay, under the right circumstances, under the right settings, okay, we can be professional here. And, what's even the more telling tale is that, you got people that are paying attention to what's going on throughout social media when these episodes of AEW Dynamite is on. So what I find kind of peculiar is you had that spot there with the Dark Order and everything. And I would like to believe that while we were on the air, that at some point, that started to catch fire, that certain spot. Now, I would like to believe that word got back to Tony Khan. And, depending on when he found out about it, that spot that went down afterwards with him and the ref doing the stunners on Sean Spears, I would like to believe in retrospect if he probably may want to take that back. If he could take some things back, that whole stunner thing, maybe that's something he could take back, right? So that's all what was going on in my mind, minus what happened with Tammy's friend and everything. I didn't find that out, like I said, till earlier today. But all the other stuff, that's what was going on in my mind as I was seeing all that. And my whole thing was, Tony Khan, come on, man, don't come off as a mark. It doesn't matter if you came up with the idea. It doesn't matter if Cody came up with the idea. It doesn't matter if Shawn Spears came up with the idea. It doesn't matter if the fans came up with that idea. Your brand is what you care about the most right now, and you're trying to do everything in your power to have that brand get as much exposure as humanly possible. And you're still very young into your career in this endeavor as an owner. Focus more on the behind the scenes logistics and all that. I look at that spot there that went down afterwards with Tony Khan doing the stunner and the referee doing the stunner and all that shit. Meanwhile, where's my Nyla Rose? I ain't gonna fake. I'm a big fan of hers. I'm a big supporter of hers. Not because she's transgendered either. I'm just a big fan of her work. And when she's sloppy in the ring, I'm on that ass. I'm definitely critiquing it. I'm offering ways of improvement and everything. Where is Sunny Kiss? Sunny Kiss is another one who, hey, what's going on? If there's anybody that has the greatest potential in the world of being a really entertaining showman, it's Sunny Kiss. Where's Sunny Kiss? Where's those spots instead of the Tony Khan and the referee? Where's their opportunities to take their places instead and do something like that? Where is MJF, one of your hottest talents on that fucking roster? And you have those episodes where you're not utilizing him, and where's he? Where is the insertion of a guy like MJF? And you can insert whatever name you want to put in those places there. Let it be about the talent. That's my message in a nutshell. Let it be about the talents. Yeah, hey, look, I love working with you guys. It's awesome. Hey, we got to be about the business right now. Man, that once this is over, we're going to be at the bar. We're going to be getting our drink on. We'll be able to swap some stories and everything. We'll have fun. Don't worry about it. And look, if fans take pictures of Khan, hey, he's off the clock. I don't care if, they went off the air. It's not like that they were on TNT. As far as I'm concerned, even if you have one fan that's in attendance left after your show or whatever goes off the air, you are still entertaining. So you gotta play it smart. And my whole thing is, don't come off like a mark, And there was one person that, oh man, I so appreciated you sharing the CM Punk Starcast stream and everything, but you're taking this way too serious. No, I don't take things way too serious, because when it comes to social media, when it comes to all things in life, I got more important things to be worried about. My house bills, my wedding, trying to start a family. I got more important things to worry about, as opposed to taking a picture of myself trying to emulate the Britt Baker challenge. That's the thing that I have been noticing in 2019 with AEW Dynamite being in full effect and everything, is there is such great divide among fans. I've told you guys this repeatedly off and on past couple of weeks. It's like the AEW is Crips and NXT / WWE is Bloods. That's exactly how it is. And it's so fucking toxic that it doesn't make any sense in the world. It just doesn't. And right down to the point, you even got Cody Rhodes, who passionately did a great interview with the guys over at Busted Open. Even he said that, yeah, you know what, our AEW fans, they're very kind, but they can be very overprotective of the AEW brand. I want to read to you a little bit what he had said here. With regards to fans picking a side, whether there's a little bit of fear from longtime WWE fans or whether there is a dislike of the bold personalities, we have done some pretty bold things like the breaking of the throne or taking little jabs like Jericho did here and there. But on the other side of that is the defenders of AEW that are kind of overly protective and sometimes are being too generous to us because obviously we're going to slip and make mistakes too. If you were to put those people together with their NXT shirts and AEW shirts, they would get along just fine because they are wrestling fans. Now, you see, to Cody's point, I'm not really sure about that because every single time the ratings come out, every single time some type of negative constructive criticism is given about AEW, there is like about 1,000 fucking people that's on that ass, whereas compared to NXT, it's not as much, but you get the point that I'm making. It's almost a tick for tat, when it comes to offering criticism for both shows. So to his point, it's, when you see all the toxic shit that's out there on social media every Wednesday, that's why I always keep saying, the wrestling fan, they ultimately win on Wednesday nights because what they maybe are not seeing from one show, they have an alternative that night and they can go check out something else. And hey, if they aren't bringing it, there's plenty of other alternatives that they have. And shout out to my colleague there, Matt Coon, once again. And Matt Coon, he put out a really good tweet, and I want to read this to you guys. It ties into everything that we're talking about here. And let me see if I can actually pull it up real quick here. And if I can't, yep, here it is. WWE, AEW, NXT, GCW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, MLW, NWA, ROH, CMLL, BLP, Beyond, Defy, CZW, MCW, HOH, Warrior, HOG, Dragon Gate, New, NEW, AAA. What's the point of him mentioning all of these promotions? He adds, and plenty more. If you can't find wrestling you like in 2020, you're not trying. So, I mean, to follow up on a question that was asked to me a couple of months ago, which was, what year of wrestling is your favorite? And to which I said, honestly, 2019 and beyond, because there's so many more alternatives all at the touch of your fingertips, the accessibility that you have now more than ever to checking out various promotions. It's insane, and yeah, it's so weird seeing how some of these fans exchange with each other on social media. You've got people that are literally hardcore AEW fans. All they do is eat, sleep, breathe AEW. They do not check out anything else. And man, when you try to offer some type of constructive feedback, they are just, something's wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. Meanwhile, you're looking at their Twitter feed or social media feeds. All they can do is eat, sleep, tweet, breathe AEW, atting people from AEW. It really comes off as though they are, they found their new fucking ketchup. And man, if you try to say something wrong about it, man, they're going to be all up on your ass. Cody also said on the subject of wanting everyone to get along, if you look at the geopolitical climate and you look at everything that is happening out in the world, our fan base needs to make a better effort to get along in a way. That starts at the top. I can go ahead and say that I think a lot of things get screwed up with what was done with me and WWE. But if I was to be in a room with Triple H in this moment, I would shake his hand and would probably give him a hug out of everything that has happened. I learned a lot from him. He is on the absolute opposite of the fence in the same role that I am in, in AEW and has much more experience in it. I think it's fun, but we can't eat our own. You have to look at the amount of wrestling fans that are watching wrestling every week and Wednesday night. We wanted Wednesday night to be must-see TV. You take the ratings from both products and you truly understand that there is less crossover than you think. That is a lot of eyes watching wrestling on Wednesday nights. Well, see, here's my whole thing. When you come out of the gate and, you know, the raw speeches that you're giving to fans and everything like that, on top of saying, hey, we're going to provide a different alternative. We're going to have, you know, healthcare coverage. We're going to have such great diversity in our promotion where everybody is going to be welcome. It doesn't matter your sexual orientation, you know, your political beliefs, any and everybody, you know, is going to be welcomed here. When you're juggling all of that, and at the same time, when you're taking a massive shit on the WWE, and you're not like day fucking one saying to your fans, hey, with regards to what we're trying to do with AEW, you know, we want to present a really good, strong alternative of wrestling that fans can come and rely on regularly every single week. We're going to bring the excitement. We're going to bring the energy. We know that there are some wrestling promotions out there that honestly do not need to be named because we're not about naming them. But there are some wrestling promotions that, let's be honest, what they've been doing for the past 10, 15, 20 years or even more, it's very stale. And as a result of it being so stale, you know, fans have become very numb. You know, those same fans that were around, you know, maybe during the Attitude Era or whatever, you know, they've all went to other things. They've gone to the basketball or the football or insert the sport here. You know, we want to try to do our part in providing a fun and exciting alternative that in essence says to those fans that, you know, maybe haven't checked out wrestling in a good minute, come on back. See what you're missing. There's something new here on the block, and you owe it to yourselves to check it out. TNA had that blueprint originally back in the day. They had that blueprint, and they lost it along the way because they got this idea that they could be a true alternative to WWE, and it started to become, well, you know, what can we do better than WWE? It became all about competition. And that's not really how you're going to be able to grow your respective business. Now, I do agree, as somebody that, you know, has started their own business, you know, I've had my own side business going since 2011. And I can tell you, does it help to see what the competition is doing, have an understanding? Yes. But most importantly, learn from their mistakes and everything like that. Yes, you know, all of that is very beneficial. But in no type of way should you go in with the mindset of, well, I'm going to do everything to be just like them. No, that's not, you're going to fail automatically if you try to roll like that. No, be your own person, be your own brand, be your own company, right? So I wish that in retrospect, Cody and them from day one, they really would have changed their mindset and go in that way. When you create the type of toxic atmosphere where you're taking shots at certain wrestling promotions, you're already creating that rift. You're already creating that divide, that unnecessary divide. And it's quite sad. And that's how we got to the situation that we got to here today. You know, on the one hand, I appreciate Cody being so candid. But then on the other hand, it's also, hey, you need to take a little bit of self-accountability here, right? You're not going to really find any self-accountability coming from the Young Bucks to a certain degree. Reason being, look at the post that they had finally shared. I think it was Matt Jackson that had shared it, a lot of us were wondering what was going on. Why did they go off of social media and everything? And posting to his Instagram account, Matt sound off and said that they will remain on Instagram and they will continue to interact with fans there, saying, and I quote, "First off, I acknowledge how ridiculous it is that I even need to talk about this, but it's clearly a distraction. My brother and I decided to leave Twitter permanently a few days ago. We realized it took precious time away from our families who've already sacrificed enough time as it is." Remember that for a hot minute there, folks. Also, we've noticed how it seems to stifle our creativity. Remember that line too. Lastly, after taking numerous breaks this past year from Twitter, we found it to be healing to our mental health. So getting off completely was the next step. This will not change how we interact with our amazing fans, as we'll continue to put out our best content online. Never be afraid to say hello to us, whether it's on social media or in person. Thanks so much for the support. We love you all very much. Happy holidays. Okay? Now, let's home in on this just a little bit more here, all right? Now, this is where I'm actually going to defend the Young Bucks, but I'm going to do it in a way where I am defending, but I'm also giving, I'm trying to find the right words I want to use here. I'll just throw it out there. I'm going to defend them, but I'm also going to take them to task on this statement here. Okay. Now, what was the number one thing that was said from the Bucks, from Cody, Omega? What was the number one thing that they said with regards to AEW? Hey, this isn't just our promotion. This is you all's promotion. You know, we work for you. We want to do our part in making sure that we're giving you guys the best product that's humanly possible. You know, we hear what you guys want in your wrestling, and we are continuing to take that feedback from you all. And together, we are going to do our very best to make the most coolest, awesome promotion in AEW. Right? Y'all remember that? I'm paraphrasing how they structured it, but in a nutshell, that's what they said. All the media interviews they were doing and all of that, right? Just go back, you can see it for yourselves, okay? You got guys like Cody and the Bucks. Hey, guys, how do we do with Dynamite this week? Share us your feedback. Let us know. Hey, how'd you guys like the pay-per-view? Share your feedback. Let us know what you had thought, right? Now, we're getting to that point right now where, pull this quote again, we've noticed how it seems to stifle our creativity. Okay, I will be the first one to tell you that you should never look at places, of all places too, Twitter. Everybody has an opinion on social media, but when it comes to something like Twitter, any and everybody, I mean, you just leave yourself exposed. That's just how it is. You just leave yourself exposed. And if you were to hang off of every single comment that comes your way, that is negative in any type of way, that is going to influence how you do your job. That's it. It's proof. The proof is in the pudding. It's happened time and time again, where you have people that are heavily influenced. That's why I respect the hell of a guy like Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, he doesn't follow anybody on social media. He goes on platforms like Twitter. He'll post his thoughts out about a game or whatever. He doesn't do no retweets. He doesn't do no likes. None of that shit. Skip just gets on Twitter, puts his shit out there. He rolls out. That's it. And if I were to give marketing, branding tips, because That's what I've been doing for almost 10 years now. I actually work in that industry, all right? So I know what the fuck I'm talking about. When it comes to getting your own business out there or getting your name out there, which is basically your brand. Okay, well, marketing, branding 101, you want to utilize any and all social media platforms that's out there at your disposal, all in the name of getting yourself, your company, your brand, your services over. That's what it's all about. The more outlets that you are on, the more connected you are to people, the better. That's what it's all about. Okay? So while you are reading practically every single freaking thing that is being put out there on social media, right? Now, look, it's one thing, if you're going to say, hey, this isn't just our promotion, this is everybody's promotion. And we want to gather all feedback from everybody because we want to know what you guys think. What areas do we need to improve? What's going on? Tell us what you like and don't like about the product, right? And you're getting that feedback. And to get to a point where, okay, not everybody had liked what they had saw with that spot with the Dark Order. Not everybody liked that. All right? Where's the self-accountability? This is something that we've talked about all year long in 2019, particularly with wrestlers. Where is the self-accountability? Where is the, hey, with regards to the segment that had went down on AEW Dynamite, Dark Order closing things out with them cleaning house on everybody. Look, we are aware of the feedback that is out there about the Dark Order. And we can honestly tell you that, you guys are sleeping on the Dark Order right now. We are so behind these guys because we believe in these guys. We believe that as far as our storytelling goes, this is something that, we feel very passionately and very strong about. And we promise you that in the coming weeks, you just give us the time that we need. We're going to show you that with regards to the Dark Order, we are right on this one, but don't take our word for it. Just continue to watch AEW Dynamite every single Wednesday night on TNT and you'll see what we're talking about. Just give us a couple of more months, and you'll see definitely what we're talking about. Hey, with regards to the spot that had happened there with the wrestler on Goldust, two ways you could have approached that. You could have said, hey, we know that at the end of the day, wrestling is choreographed, everything is predetermined. Hey, what was that a little bit of a piss poor performance that performer had gave to Goldust? Yes, it was. And, I will be the first to tell you that, we have a roster, that is really relying heavily on the veterans to kind of whip them in shape a little bit, give them that guidance, that experience that they need. Because, I can tell you for as long as AEW has existed now that, there are many of us, myself included, on this roster that, has some nasty habits that we need to improve upon. And what went down on last week's Dynamite is a perfect example of, how much more work that's ahead of us and for the rest of our roster, or something along those lines. If you didn't want to even acknowledge that, if you didn't even want to, acknowledge all that, there's a perfect storyline that you could have easily turned that into. And shout out to Mish from Soup. He pretty much had said, you had a perfect storyline right there where you go to your next episode of Dynamite and Dark Order beat the living shit out of that dude that wasn't punching Dustin. Basically he had sympathy for the dude or whatever, and there's ramifications from that. And if you would have did that on this Wednesday's Dynamite, it could have been swept under the rug. But sadly, these guys aren't going to be back until January 1st, right? So, but why put a statement out at all? Why not just mum's the word and just ride out with it, right? So it's kind of interesting right there, right? We noticed how it seems to stifle our creativity. What it sounds to me is that you listen to too many voices that were offering you feedback, constructive feedback. Now, I'll admit, unanimously, most likely, a lot of people were shitting on it, saying it sucked and all that. And there's only but so much you can take where you just go, okay, this is it. I've had enough. All right. Now, let me back up a second. We realized it took precious time away from our families who've already sacrificed enough time as it is. Well, this is what I don't understand. It's Twitter. There's not that much time in Twitter on the world. I don't know how some people are utilizing Twitter, but the way I typically use Twitter is, okay, if I'm getting ready to have another show that comes out, I put the blast out. If I have been hired by a client to promote their products and services, I'm putting the word out on my social media platforms about their products and services. If I am maybe making some type of an appearance on another show, or if I'm going to be traveling, or maybe I want to let people know about a contest that I'm doing or something like that, I put that out on social media. When Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or there's a pay-per-view on, I will post my thoughts about it, and I'll actually interact with a few people. But Twitter does not dictate and hinder my lifestyle. Proud to say that it does not, nor does any social media platform. And I'm sorry, but when you are getting to a point where social media is taking up more of your personal time, right? Especially that time with family, it's getting in the way of work. Then if it's like that, then yeah, you definitely need to scale back dramatically. I don't know about deleting or deactivating your accounts altogether, but simply saying, okay, I gotta ease off here. I'm doing way too much. Let me pump the brakes a little bit. Yeah, you do that, right? So it kind of feels to me like between the brothers, they were spending quite a lot of time on Twitter reading every single thing, that was being put out there, good, bad, ugly, and the what the fuck or whatever. And no, you shouldn't let it go like that. And to kind of quote CM Punk from a couple of months ago, he talked about how there was a really cool feature where he could filter certain things and he could basically see people that he wanted to see. So basically he's got his thing set up for the most part, where I'm not one of those people, because I know I asked him a question like a month and a half ago and he actually responded to it, but he was talking about how there's some filter and you can play around with it. There's a cool filter that you could do on Twitter and it helps you filter out basically who do you want to read tweets from. I think even, hey, take out these words or some shit like that. I haven't really played around with it, right? But yeah, you got so many options that's at your disposal where you can knock that out. You really don't need to reduce yourself to the point where that really jumps out at me the most. Precious time away from our families who've already sacrificed enough time as it is. If you're in your phone or tablet like that with social media, yeah, you definitely need to pump brakes a little bit, because how is Instagram different? Instagram, anybody can send you a message. You're totally exposed. There is no, I only want to read messages from friends. Any and everybody can send you a message unless you block them. Every time you post a photo and all of that, comments. So you're going to experience the same type of deal as well. So are you really going to put yourself in a position where ultimately you're letting the keyboard warriors, you're letting those, see, there's a big difference between offering constructive feedback, criticism, ways of improvement, and then just bitching, taking a massive shit on something, and that just keeps pounding you down over and over and over again. And it sounds to me the latter got the best of them. And, that's quite sad. Now, some people won't feel sorry about them because they sadly, and I kind of remember a bit, they sadly had a history in their earlier years on social media, where they trolled people. You know, they made their little jabs and all that, and it just kind of seems like, you know, the juice there when it came time for them to take their refreshing lickings, it kind of seems as though they cashed out on that. So I mean, it's unfortunate. I feel where they're coming from, and it's kind of sad that it got to the point where it is, even though they didn't need to. I always say, from a branding marketing perspective, when you come across someone that's not offering constructive criticism, constructive feedback, ways of improvement, all they're doing is trolling. Some people are proud saying, hey, I've never blocked anybody. I've never this. I've never that. Well, God bless you. That's you. My black ass, I ain't got time for the bullshit. I'm a grown ass man. I ain't got time to be dealing with no fucking kids. I'm working on having kids. I ain't got time for that shit. Perfect example. I remember when the ratings had came out, I went on Twitter, and one of the first things that I had said was, hey, okay, ratings are out. All right, so NXT had won, and honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Talked about it on the show last week, and NXT for that night, it had the better overall product when it's all said and done, right? Product, show, however you want to phrase it, right? And I had some jabroni, no avatar, like about less than 10 followers, better product. Fuck you, you NXT mark. And I immediately responded back to him and I said, no. You ain't gonna bait me in that shit. I'm like, you dumb fuck. I check out so many wrestling promotions, it's not even funny. You're assuming because you read what I posted that I am just all about drinking the NXT Kool-Aid. You have no idea what I am, what I'm about. You saw that post. You didn't even bother reading my bio. No, I'm not playing that. You can go play that with somebody else. And I blocked them. This is the most powerful button that you have at your disposal. And I've been saying it off and on over the years. You've got the mute and the block button. If you come across bullshit that you don't like, just block a motherfucker. Going back to that one kid one last time that was so like AEW pro and, oh, you're taking things seriously. I caught the subtle shot that he had took at me and other people. Oh, for all you fucking podcasts and you know, you guys are the real fucking marks, you know, nah. Now what do you got to say? Here's what really went down with Tony Khan and that stunner, you know. It's like, okay, so a wrestler had the idea. Okay. And what? We're supposed to, well, see, it was a wrestler's idea. So this young man has a long way to go. He has a long way to go. I felt bad for him. I really did. I felt very bad for him because I just looked at his postings and I just said, you're just a kid. You got a long way to go. You got some serious maturing to do. You know, no wonder not, and I'm not making fun of the cat. It's like, but I couldn't help but go, no wonder there's not that many people interacting with you and everything. And I get why you're posting Britt Baker challenge photos of yourself and you know, you're entering all of these goddamn contests to watch free shit. And you're not coming out of your pocket to pay for some of this stuff. It's because you're a kid. Right? So I'm sorry. I don't have time to take a kid by the hand and let me tell you about the birds and the bees and the, I don't know, hills and trees. Well, however the fuck that song goes, or the facts of life. The facts of life. Sometimes you get a condom and sometimes you don't. Well, that's the facts of life. The facts of life, right? But anyway, a couple other topics. We're almost done. Major League Wrestling, they've announced that a no-holds-barred match between Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Simon Gotch has been added to MLW 0 Hour. MLW 0 Hour is going to be at the NY Tech Sports Center in Dallas, Fort Worth, Saturday, January 11th. The event will be a MLW Fusion TV taping for BN Sports. You guys want to get in on that, you're going to be in the Dallas area there. Tickets start at $15. Check them out, MLWDallas.com. Again, MLWDallas.com. Other matches that's going to be going down there. No ropes barbed wire match. Jimmy Havoc taking on Mance Warner. Grudge match. Ross Van Erich versus Filthy Tom Lawler. National open weight title fight. Alex Hammerstone defending the title against Aerostar. MJF wins, he gets a world tag team title shot. If he loses, he can never challenge the Von Erichs again to a title fight, as it's going to be MJF taking on Marshall Von Erich. Also, we got the debut of Eric Stevens. Other people that are announced to appear, you got the World Heavyweight Champion Jacob Fatu and Contra Unit. Selena De La Renta. Hello, my dear. Oh my God, she is beautiful. Hero De La Park, Low Key, Richard Holiday, Douglas James, Injustice's Myron Reed, Jordan Oliver and Coto Brazil, Brian Pillman Jr., Savio Vega, Conan, Drago, Taurus, Puma King, and many more. Once again, if you're going to be in the Dallas area, tickets are available starting at $15. MLWDallas.com. One more time, MLWDallas.com. Check that out. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, they got a new World Heavyweight Champion. They had their event, the Makings of a Varsity. They had that over the weekend. Bandito defeated Jeff Cobb to become the new PWG Heavyweight Champion. Cobb, an impressive feature, man, held the title for over a year. He won in October of last year. That ends his title reign at 427 days. Very fucking impressive. Congrats to Dana Brooke. She's coming along. I'm seeing definite strong improvements from her and everything. I'm actually starting to like her more this go round. I have to say, verdict is still out, but I like what I'm seeing from her. Congrats to her. She had revealed in the interview with Sports Illustrated that she has inked a new deal with the WWE. That's going to be lasting for about 5 years. So congrats to her for that. Also, Fight TV. They've announced that they will be streaming New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 14 on both nights, and they'll be showing the New Year Dash. Fans can pay $24.99 to purchase each event individually, or if you got it like that, my pretty baby, you can drop $50 and you can check out all three. Again, Wrestle Kingdom 14 is going to happen on 2 nights, and then you got New Year Dash. So get all three, pay $50, or pay $24.99 to purchase them, right? So they're trying to save you a little bit of money. They're trying. Or if you really want to save money, go get you a New Japan Pro Wrestling subscription. There you go. That's how you can dodge all of that. And it's a lot cheaper too, right? It's a lot cheaper too. But you got alternatives. Hey, I'm just telling you, you want to drop $50, $60 or more, depending on your cable satellite provider? That's on you. You want to spend about $10, $15, under $20? Check all of them out legally, like legit. You can go to New Japan World. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I know we got our connections there with Fight TV, but just telling you guys, just keeping it real. National Wrestling Alliance, they announced that their NWA Hard Times pay-per-view, it had sold out in under 3 hours, so congrats to them for that. VIP tickets sold out in only, get this, 3 fucking minutes. No matches has even been announced yet for that no holds barred event. How crazy is that? They're also going to be doing TV tapings January 25th through 26th with limited tickets still available. WWE Backstage, their rating came in for last week's episode, the one I told you I was going to be skipping because once I heard Amber Moon and Alexa Bliss were going to be on there, I'll pass. Lowest rating, God, I'm sad to hear that. Legitimately, I am sad to hear that, but lowest rated episode since Backstage premiered. A 95,000 viewership. That's basically what they had did. right? It didn't even make the top cable 150. That's how bad it was. And I've seen little highlights just out of curiosity. And yeah, now I'm hoping with what they're going to be doing on the show this Tuesday, I'm hoping that's going to be good because you're going to be announcing some of the NXT year-end awards, if not all of them. So that should be a pretty good episode. But yeah, man, it drew 95,000 viewers. It's down from the previous week, which had 127,000 viewers, and is the lowest viewership for the show since the 49,000 viewers from its official premiere on November 5th. So again, this is the lowest viewership that they did for this past Tuesday since the premiere. So not exactly good. I don't think you'll want to tap into those girls again for that respected episode. And again, we should note no CM Punk was on that one as well. Now the show drew a 0.05 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic. That's down from the previous week as well, where they had hit a 0.6 the previous week. So interesting stuff right there. Ring of Honor, they've announced that tickets are on sale for the promotion's return to St. Louis and Nashville coming up in February. It is bringing the best wrestling on the planet back to Nashville, Tennessee, and the St. Louis area. That's what they're proclaiming. The best wrestling. They're going to be returning to the historic Nashville Auditorium on Friday, February 28th, and then for the very first time, they're going to be appearing at the Family Arena in St. Charles, Missouri on Saturday, February 29th. Tickets are on sale right now. Again, tickets are on sale right now. So go check that out. Don't see a card just yet. We're still a little ways out. As the weeks get a little bit closer, I'll definitely comment on what's going on there. Forbes had put out a very interesting article. It kind of coincided with a recent interview that Stephanie McMahon had gave, talking about how, hey, as far as 2019 goes, we've done everything in our power to give the WWE fans everything that they've wanted. And it made some fans say, bullshit, what the fuck? And Forbes actually did an article, and okay, per what Stephanie McMahon had said, because everybody remembers there was that one infamous episode of Monday Night Raw like almost exactly a year ago to the day, and they basically said no more authority from now on. You have the power, we're listening to you, this is your show, it's not about us, we're gonna give you everything that you want, right? So Forbes had did a very interesting article. And they basically said, no, Stephanie in the interview that she gave is actually right. All right, so let's start off here. Becky Lynch, Kofi Kingston, Seth Rollins all won their respected world titles at WrestleMania 35. You guys remember Brock Lesnar was defeated by Seth Rollins twice on pay-per-view to win the Universal title. Kofi Kingston had that title reign that went about 6 months long. And as Kofi Kingston had revealed in an interview just a couple of weeks ago, Daniel Bryan had played an integral part in Kofi going over and everything. Leave it to Daniel Bryan and say, nah, man, this is the course that we need to stay. Let's go there, right? Becky Lynch had joined Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey in the first ever Women's WrestleMania main event match, and to this day she's still holding the Raw Women's Championship. Okay, so we kind of knew how things were going to be playing out with Ronda Rousey. We knew she was getting ready to wrap things up with WWE for the time being. So we knew that it was either going to be Becky Lynch taking on Ronda Rousey, or maybe somehow it was going to be a triple threat match. But this was something that we as fans, we actually did want to see. Going back to Seth Rollins, honestly, I think with regards to Seth Rollins, I think we were just at a point where we wanted to see the championship be represented more on the Raw flagship show. That's what it was all about in a nutshell. And I think in retrospect, we gravitated as fans towards Seth Rollins on paper because, okay, he gets it back and then we're done. We can be done with Brock. The title's defended. Rollins can give us the great matches. And yeah, eventually, when the timing is right, take it off of him. That's not exactly how it had panned out there. So I remember a lot of us were a bit Lesnar again. I remember that very well. WWE's female stars had also main evented 2 more pay-per-views that year, Survivor Series and TLC. And the company created women's tag team titles, or brought back the women's tag team titles, just put them under a different name and everything. I don't remember hearing a bunch of fans clamoring for the women to main event at TLC and Survivor Series. I really don't remember that whatsoever. I don't. The TLC match that had recently went down, I mean, it was okay to a certain degree, but yeah, they were good. Now, if you want to phrase that as, well, women, they were given opportunities for the audience then that, hey, women should more in WWE. Okay, I can accept that argument. I can accept that. You also had the following stars that finally got their long-awaited heel turns. Rollins, yeah, we all clamor for that. Bayley, we all clamor for that. Sasha Banks, yeah. AJ Styles, really? Was everybody wanting a heel AJ Styles? I don't really remember that. I could be off on that one. Other stars got their highly anticipated babyface turns. Rusev, I agree with that. Kevin Owens, I definitely agree with that. Daniel Bryan, I agree with that. Alexa Bliss, don't particularly care for Bliss. Yeah, if anything, replace Alexa Bliss with Nikki Cross. If you want to talk about, hey, these people had got over more and Nikki Cross is finally connecting with the WWE universe, right? I will accept that. Alexa Bliss draws fucking crickets. She's got a nice rear end, soft on the eyes, cute looking face. The stuff that she said on backstage, I'm like this. You want to prove the naysayers wrong. You want to talk about your cheerleading background and all this other shit that had got you to the dance in the WWE. You got to go through all of these. And then in 1989, you got to go through this whole fucking biography. No, you don't need to do all that shit, right? Actions speak louder than words. You want to start impressing people? Go in there in that ring and fucking put it all out there on the line. But most importantly, do it in such a way where you are being as safe as possible, not just for yourself, but for your dance partner. Because too many times we've heard about her getting some type of an injury, concussion. So she's still got a long way to go as far as I'm concerned. There are so many other women that are leaps and bounds better than her, that are more deserving of that spot. Chelsea Green being one of them. Paul Heyman was brought back into a creative capacity as Raw Executive Director and has highlighted new stars like Humberto Carrillo. He's coming along. Ricochet, he's coming along. Street Profits, loving them. Viking Raiders, they're okay as well, but we also need to acknowledge that there has been some problems with Paul Heyman at the helm. The Lana, Rusev, Bobby Lashley angle, people do not care for that whatsoever. Another thing that has been a bit of an issue since Paul Heyman has been at the helm, so to speak, has been with some of these past few pay-per-views. You've got these pay-per-views. Oh shit, WWE is doing a pay-per-view this weekend? What the hell? Not enough of a build-up. I haven't seen enough story building and setting up your pay-per-views. It just weeks go by and then, yeah, by the way, guys, we're doing a pay-per-view. This sounds like, wait, you are? Oh shit! I was supposed to do something with the family. You guys are doing a pay-per-view? Wow. So not everything is rosy with Paul Heyman at the helm. There's been some questionable bookings. Some of the story arcs, as I mentioned before, not really on point. So I will definitely admit that I love Paul Heyman, but I will definitely admit that not everything has been rosy with Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns has completely avoided the world title picture on both Raw and SmackDown. That's true. And as a result of that, he has gotten more over with the fans. So I would definitely agree with that. Finn Balor moved to NXT, where he's been instantly established as the top star. That is something that we've been clamoring for a couple of years. We were wondering what was going on there with Demon Balor. And for me, I felt that with regards to the draft, I felt that, okay, put him on SmackDown. Just go ahead, put him on SmackDown. That would be badass. Maybe let him chase after The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Go to WrestleMania, Demon versus The Fiend. Demon's undefeated, right? Maybe you could have Demon Balor go over, right? Keep that streak going, right? And instead they pull the trigger and boom, he's back down to NXT. Shane McMahon is no longer on TV. We wanted that. We wanted that tremendously. Part-time stars like Triple H, John Cena, and The Undertaker wrestled much less frequently. Yeah, to the point, John Cena, and as far as his pay-per-view streaks that he's had over the years, 2019, John Cena didn't do anything this calendar year. Nothing this calendar year. But yeah, they wrestled much less frequently than usual, while Batista and Kurt Angle hung up their boots for good. NXT dominated Raw and SmackDown at Survivor Series, which was much needed because it was all about establishing NXT, trying to get more eyes on the product as much as humanly possible. I'm down with that. Bray Wyatt has gotten a massive push and is the current Universal Champion. I'll be honest, when Bray Wyatt as the Fiend came back and he had the whole mask thing and all that going on, I did not instantly go give him a championship run. I didn't instantly. Instead, it was, I need to see what we're getting from him exactly. I need to. And then once I saw what was going on, I understood the psychology of this new character he was bestowing upon us. Then I started coming around to it more, and then just cared more about the story that WWE was trying to tell with this multi-layered character. It was obvious what they had on their hands, just from a creative standpoint. It was a very complicated, multi-layered, intriguing character. And seeing what they were able to do with him in installments and everything culminating in him becoming the Universal Champion, yeah, no issues with that whatsoever. So, in essence, everything that I had said there, at WWE, they did give the fans what they want there. Hey, you want the title off of Lesnar? We did it. We did it not once, but twice for you guys. And the second time that Lesnar was a champion, it was justified because we talked about it. We were one of the first shows. We said he's got the title because this is all about the Fox deal. He's going to ride it in the Fox and then he's going to drop it. It's pretty much going to go from there. Or actually, no, I'm sorry. Actually, no. I'm thinking about my timeline with Rollins. And then actually what I was thinking about was when he won the title from Kofi. I apologize. That was all about doing their part, getting SmackDown over and all that other shit. That's what I was thinking of. Sorry about that, guys. So that's a lot of good. Now, as far as the bad goes for the WWE, the Raw flagship show. Look, it ain't going nowhere no time soon, but Triple H has said passionately that if it were up to him, 2 hours. They'd make their point in 2 hours, and that's it. So, okay, great. Probably the only other things that I would say that WWE needs to improve upon it as far as giving the fans what they want and everything. I would say that with some of these story arcs like the Lashley Rusev Lana thing, don't make it be so long and drawn out. Although I have to say, Lana is finally starting to find her stride as a TV character. So I definitely got to give her a lot of props for that one. But the pay-per-views, leading up to the pay-per-views, they got to do a better job in telling the stories, setting those seeds in there for the feuds and everything. And I still feel that as far as a why are these people feuding, I still kind of feel to a certain degree you need to have some type of an authority figure. Some type of an authority figure that everybody can fucking get behind, and there's not going to be a Stephanie, a Shane, or a Vince. You know, it's like William Regal. He has gone untouched for so many years. Why can't we have somebody kind of similar like that just once in a blue moon? I still feel very passionately about that. I know Sean, shout out to Sean. Sean was like, it's a good idea, but you know, we almost might go back to, you know, square one and everything. It's just not going to happen. I can dream. Let me dream about that for a little while longer. Other than that, I would say also, as far as giving the fans what they want, about some lower ticket prices. Seriously, some of the ticket prices, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Also, following up on giving the fans what they want, fans wanted to get their hands on Bray Wyatt merchandise. That's something that Forbes did not mention. They were able to do that a few times now this quarter. Maybe even the previous quarter. They've given away some really cool limited edition Bray Wyatt stuff, and fans have just ate that up like a mofo, right? So, you know, I think maybe doing some more cool stuff like that would be good as well. What they did not do in 2019, which I'm hoping that at some point in 2020 they will do, fans have actually been wanting another Evolution pay-per-view event, and that has yet to happen. Stephanie McMahon said that that's something that is currently being worked out. They're trying to figure out some logistics. They sadly had to do TLC for December. Well, to that I say, you didn't have to. You could have easily replaced it with an Evolution pay-per-view, and right, you could have easily done that. So, and not for nothing, but, and maybe it's something that WWE, if they have the footage, maybe they can show it on the network later down the road. But you guys know that there was, and it totally slipped by me, there was a all-women NXT show that they did. And it happened on a weekend and nobody knew about it. Nobody was talking about it on social media. There was really no reports about it that much from sites. It was quite interesting. It was quite interesting. But yeah, I would say, you know, as far as 2019 goes, yeah, I would say WWE, for the most part, they did their best to try to give the fans everything that they wanted. Hey, I can also remember fans were complaining about, you know, what is going on with these commercial breaks, and it's being designed in a way where you come back from commercial break and you're making sure that us fans did not miss a match, or, you know, the beginning of a match and all that shit. You guys know what I'm talking. It was like that weird shit that they did, and you're like, that's not gonna last that long. And sure enough, it only lasted a couple of weeks, and then it went away, right? So that's another case where they were listening to the fans as well, something that was not mentioned in the Forbes article, at least not from what I had read there. So for the most part, yeah, 2019 they did give. Let me know what you think. Just after hearing all that, let me know what you guys think. Did WWE try to do their best this calendar year and giving the fans what they want? Let me know how you guys think about that. All right, as we get ready to wrap up the show, I do want to give a shout out to some of our Patreon members and some of our sponsors as well. Let me shout out some of our sponsors. We are brought to you in part by AliveShoes.com correlated. You gotta make sure you actually put the number 8 in there instead of A as in apple. Aliveshoes.com/correlated. Great, amazing shoe design by my man CJ Brandon. Think Bret Hart, the Hart Foundation. It's got black, it's got white, it's got pink, it's got gray in it. The whole color scheme is freaking badass. And I gotta tell you, man, I think I might actually pick me up a pair of these shoes. Check out the link in the episode description. You can get yourself a nice little discount off. These shoes are only going to be available for a limited time. And know that when you're purchasing these shoes, you are not only supporting an entrepreneur, but you're supporting someone that actually used to serve in our militaries. So he's trying to figure out ways to give back to the community, and he's always had a love for designing shoes. So he decided to make his dream become a reality, and this is one of many designs that he's put out during his time as a shoe designer and maker and everything. So check that out. Again, aliveshoes.com/correlated. Happy to have them on board. We are also brought to you in part by our good friends over at almosttwins.com. Once again, almosttwins.com. They make it easy for regular guys like you and me to buy thoughtful gifts for that special lady that's going to guarantee a smile on her face. Almosttwins.com. It's simple. They allow you to personalize your gift. Make it 10 times thoughtful. Steps as easy as 1, 2, 3. You go on their site, almosttwins.com. You pick a design. You pick a size. They handle it the rest. It doesn't get any easier than that. Check them out. Almosttwins.com. Again, almosttwins.com. We're also brought to you in part by leafyassets.com. If you're a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they can help protect your assets and strategically grow your business and wealth. President Evil, just days before the November midterm elections, 3 young girls are stalked by a deranged killer dressed as the President of the United States. Check out the trailer, buy the movie on Amazon.com. And I think that is it for all of our sponsors here. Actually, one more sponsor. If your business needs working capital to fund its growth, or maybe to get through a tight financial pinch, and if traditional banks aren't the right fit for you, my friends over at davidallencapital.com can help you out. Their providers are going to look for cash flow alternatives as opposed to just looking at your credit score. They can help you get the cash you need for your business. You can have it in as little as 3 business days. Call my good friend Alex at David Allen Capital today at area code 202-445-0851. Again, 202-445-0851. Again, get funding in as little as 3 days. I've got the link for her available in the episode description as well. Shout out to our Patreon members. Shout out to my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. Once again, check out this past Thursday's Wrestling Soup. I was on there. It was a great show. The free-for-all. Here's some fun trivia for you guys, because you never know. It might be a contest somewhere down the road. You never know. The 90-minute version of the show was actually edited and mixed by yours truly. So it's the only time I'm going to say that. So that's useful trivia for you guys. But the actual full show with the 3 of us went about 3+ hours. So it was a lot of fun. It's a great time. It was a great time, a lot of laughs, good shit. Shout out to my good friend Anthony Missionary Thomas. Look, C2E2, since last we were on the air, I'm still doing C2E2. In case I didn't mention it last week, sadly, the panel that they were trying to give us, it was on a Sunday. So basically, when C2E2 is essentially over, and it was at 4:30 in the afternoon. So basically, when C2E2 is only going to be running like another 30 minutes, maybe an hour, right? So it's kind of getting a little deserted or whatever. And more insult to injury, they were only trying to give us 30 minutes. So none of us wanted to do that. We were expecting an hour to 90 minutes, and it's okay, what the fuck. So there's many of us that's still going to be getting together and hooking up, because I'm still going out there as part of the press media. So is my friend Julian, and I know Don Tony, he is still going to come out there as well. I think he's trying to figure out if he's going to cover the AEW Rebellion pay-per-view out there or not. But we may have some type of a backup in the works as far as a panel. I was told something's brewing. Stay tuned. So when I know something, I will definitely share that info with you all. But the way it's looking right now, I know for certain I'm going to be returning to the Chicago area to definitely cover the C2E2 event. I was talking with the missus earlier, and she was saying, so what are we doing? Are we going to drive out there? Or are we taking, Greyhound or a train? How are we doing it out there? And I kind of want us to keep the car. So it's safe to say we're going to actually be doing like we did a couple of years ago, and we're actually going to be driving to and from. So nice road trip. It's not that bad. It's about a 10-hour drive and everything. It's not that bad. Will we have to take a couple of breaks here and there? Yeah, we will. We will have to take some breaks here and there. But yeah, so when I know something about C2E2, I'll definitely share it with you guys. Shout out to John Krauser. My congrats to John Krauser. John Krauser and his Brain Freak holiday live shows out in the Chicago area sold out. And I think he has maybe one more show that's going to be happening this weekend, and then that's pretty much it. But I'm happy to hear that his shows had sold out. Attendance was, phenomenal. Everybody had lots of laughs, great times and everything. So happy to hear that, my friend. More power to you. Shout out to Justin Ripstock. Once again, happy belated birthday to him. Shout out to Sean Kenter. Shout out to Tony Bean Gaming. You want the very latest in all things Marvel. Marvel Super Wars, Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, tips, news, reviews, tricks, all that good stuff. Tony Bean Gaming. He's got a great YouTube channel and a great Patreon wall as well. Shout out to Freddie R. Friday. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to, last but not least, John Davis. And most importantly, shout out to my man over at Screaming Bulls 1. He is a great wrestling sculptor. If you need some custom figures or bust made, hit him up. Dude got good skills. He's on Twitter at Screaming Bulls 1. Use the actual number 1. Appreciate all of these cats. And for those of you that are no longer Patreon members, hope you had enjoyed your stay and you had enjoyed the content. And hey, hope to see you somewhere down the road. Hope you come on back. All right, so some quick programming notes here. I recorded earlier tonight, and I don't know how I'm going to put it out. This Patreon content we're talking about. I don't know if it's going to be one whole episode or if it's going to be 2 installments, but me and Tammy sat down and re-recorded a deluxe 30 with Lee. We reviewed in depth Eddie Murphy on SNL. We also reviewed Norman Lear's live in front of a studio audience. We talked about the Good Times episode, and we talked about the All in the Family episode. So I don't know how I'm going to do that. We'll see. But that is dropping on Patreon later today. I'm going to probably drop it early Tuesday afternoon. So maybe about 12 or maybe 1 o'clock East Coast time is when I'll drop it. And then we're going to be recording not 1 but 2 episodes of Wrestling with the Topics. Again, not 1 but 2 episodes of Wrestling with the Topics. And what will probably happen with regards to the Wrestling with the Topics episode, what will probably happen is, I don't know how I'm going to do it just yet. I may come on live for about 20 minutes just to talk about Raw. And then we'll let Wrestling with the Topics play as a premiere for you guys. So you'll still get me live is how I'm picturing it. But the rest of it, it's just going to be live audio. I'll probably be around reading what you guys are saying in the comment section or whatever like that. But we're going to let that be a free-for-all for everybody. Normally, Wrestling with the Topics is a Patreon exclusive. But there's 2 episodes we're doing. One will be for Patreons, and then the other one, 2 completely different shows, different topics covered. The second one will be a free-for-all that we'll have live on YouTube in a
couple of other different outlets and everything. And as 2020 nears, there's a couple of shows I'm eyeing as far as, what are we doing? What are we going to be covering here? And what are we not going to be covering here? I know SmackDown is definitely one of those shows. Can't wait to see the main event match for SmackDown this week. We got Daniel Bryan taking on Miz, Baron Corbin to crown a number one contender that's going to face Bray Wyatt for the title at the Royal Rumble. Man, your guess is as good as mine on who's going to get that. It's so close, it's not even funny. I think it's going to come down to Miz and Daniel Bryan taking on The Fiend. I don't know. I don't know. It should be a great main event match, though. I'll tell you that much. But I know that we're going to be talking a lot more about NWA, a couple other promotions. There's definitely going to be more wrestling oriented stuff that's going to be hidden Patreon way. So, make sure you represent. If you haven't signed up yet, you've been thinking about signing up, you're missing out. Low as $5 a month. You can check out great audio, video content, great majority of content you won't be able to check out anywhere else. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. You can check it all out. But yeah, there's a couple of things that's going to be pulled, and then there's a couple of shows that's going to be Discord. You'll only be able to access them live in the Discord. I can tell you this much, and some of you guys may have noticed this. I did not renew. This was a personal choice. I chose to not renew the RCWR Show app for Android users. So if you noticed that you weren't able to access the app, it's for very good reason. I just decided to not renew it. We had got that app about 2 years ago, and I've been paying attention to the numbers. And I don't know if maybe it was a case where I wasn't promoting it heavily enough, or because of the already established outlets that our show is syndicated on, people just kind of felt, there's really no need to check out the app, right? But the app numbers was just very, very low. When I look at the statistics, like I always do weekly and monthly, and I even see what's going on the year to year, I just really wasn't seeing enough growth of people that were checking out the app to justify continuing to pay the yearly cost, because it was quite expensive, quite expensive to pay for that app. So I decided to get rid of it, and I'm actually working behind the scenes with a major syndication outlet, and if we get the green light from them to have our shows be syndicated through them, then not only are we going to make up that percentage, which was about maybe 0. Out of the pie chart, it was like almost way down towards the bottom. That app alone was probably responsible for about 0.2 or 0.3% of folks that were accessing, through various devices, and that being one of them. So it really wasn't that much, not much. So this one syndication outlet I'm looking at, it's a major website. If we are able to get the green light from them, we pretty much have been guaranteed, you get picked up with us, you're going to at least get, if not 10 times, guaranteed 5 times what you were getting for the app. And the best part about it, you're not really going to have to pay anything for it. So keep your fingers crossed, and that's how we kind of make up for that, basically. So, like I said, unless there's a serious demand, it's kind of okay, being conservative, what makes more sense, right? So see, other than that, I did tease the survey. I'm going to do the survey. That's going to be coming out. I'm actually going to put that out at the same time I'm putting the final touches on the 30 with Lee for you guys for Tuesday afternoon. So keep your eyes peeled on social media for that survey. Fill it out. Let me know. I'll make it as short as possible for you guys, but tell me how you've been enjoying the show, any improvements you'd like to see made, all of that good stuff, okay? All right, so that's it. Programming note, we're done for the rest of the week. Since basically this Wednesday, you got like best of shows and all this other stuff from AEW and all that. And most importantly, it's Christmas. That's the important thing. It's fucking Christmas. I'm not doing the show on Christmas. I don't care if it's Christmas night. I'm not doing the show. I'm going to be spending the time with the family like I know many of you guys are. So not doing anything on Wednesday. No show for the rest of the week. I will be back with you all on Monday, December 30th. And the way I'm picturing it, like I said a few minutes ago, I'll be live for a couple of minutes. I'll give you some thoughts about Raw. And then afterwards, we'll let the Wrestling with Topics episode play. And like I said, I'll probably be around. I'll chat with you all in the chat box and everything like that. And then we'll go on another, week vacation and everything. And then the regular programming will pretty much be in full effect on January 6th. Don't worry, as it gets a little bit closer, I'll remind you guys all over again. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And that is going to do it. Until next go round, I am wishing all of you all to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. Once again, Merry Christmas from the Sanders household to yours. And for those of you not celebrating the Christmas holiday, happy holidays to you. Be well, be safe, my friends. Love you guys very much. Check you all out next go round. Take care.